Hello and welcome back to Everybody Loves Raiken, our 5th edition live play that meets on Tuesday nights. The last time we met, the party had announced to the army their plan to stay on the Isle of Storm Reef for the next 2 weeks, extending the army's training period and better preparing them for the fight against the ancient dragons and their broods. As the army was dismissed to revel, feeling that they had earned a night of joy, debauchery, what have you, through the training they'd already accomplished, and in celebration of the fact that they're going to have significantly more time to train, the rest of the party dispersed to their different pre-bed activities. Laromendis finished his long rest and waited to meet with Captain Raiken, who did not show, and upon searching for him, was met with evidence that the man was someplace else and with someone else, though via sending professed that he would simply need to take a rain check on this meeting. Laromendis, concerned about the implications of this, woke the rest of the party to explain the situation, and the rest of the party began contributing ideas, and Jebel used his wild shape to try and track down where this man had got to. In the course of that investigation, Jebel found that Raiken's room in the World Over Inn was packed up, emptied, as though he had not been staying in it, though he was able to find one bit of spare clothing left in an unassuming corner someplace, and used it to follow him in the form of a bloodhound, while the others discussed what the implications of this might be, chided themselves for once again placing their trust in somebody who betrayed it, it seems. Cyrus did let Raiken know that through the wish spell he would be able to cast Planar Ally and bring Kubriel's full angelic form onto the material plane to fight alongside them, to which she agreed, and as soon as she got her full angelic form, stabbed Raiken. Now that they are even and bonded in blood and pain, however, they should be the best of friends and allies on the battlefield, with an agreement in place that she will not attack anyone that Raiken has deemed an ally, nor he, unless he gives her cause to attack him. And he will not stop her from engaging in battles which she deems important to Gord. And then finally, Jebel followed the trail of Raiken to what appears to be the collapsed remains of the Storm Reef Isle Mages Guild, at the basement of which contained a teleportation circle, which he was able to identify, but not tell. He could not tell Laromendis whether or not this circle was fully intact. He assumed the form of a Quetzal, the form he had learned from the planar visitor Nerevar, which has the innate ability to see magical auras, and was able to determine that the circle had been recently used. And so we shall pick up here as the party, less Jebel, returns to their long rest, which was interrupted. Laromendis, you have finished yours, and you are aware via the bond that Jebel is waiting to meet with you in the Mages Guild.
So I think before heading out, Laromendis is going to quickly go into the mansion and ask Sebastian if Coffers had re-entered it and taken any of the documents.
Sebastian will look at you very seriously for a moment before nodding.
Interesting. Thank you. And then he'll leave.
get
Um,
something a little set up.
I don't know that Laromendis knows the way to the Mages Guild, so he, over the bond would be asking
Yes.
Jebel for the directions, but
Via the bond, you can easily locate it and join Jebel there.
I imagine Jebel would go outside onto the street so that you wouldn't have to look for the right building. You just see him,
mm,
and then lead you back inside.
I'm gonna try and do just a quick little representation over here. These walls are going to be problematic, it seems. And the darkness makes it a challenge.
We both have night vision,
I meant for me.
dark vision.
Darkness makes it a challenge for me to set this up.
Oh, I can understand that.
Just gonna do the best I can.
The DM doesn't have dark vision.
I mean, I could change the lighting. I just am not.
Don't want to.
Yeah. Quite simply. Alright. I think that will mostly cover it to do, like, the simplest possible representation. I think there was a... I feel like there was, but maybe I always built it myself. Oh, I know what I'm thinking of. Sorry. Come on. Not you. Yeah, okay, we'll use that for now. That'll be fine. Cool. Okay. So you wait outside, you greet him as he comes in. I've got this represented above ground, but it is, in fact, underground. Simply would put it underwater if I did that.
yeah. I know that it would be difficult for Laromendis to get in there because of the ruins. Is there enough, like, points of... I have free Misty Step. Can I, like, see a place to teleport into in it?
How many free Misty Steps have you got?
However many you can cast in a day, like casting one every turn. It's a completely free spell.
Oh.
Just like Shield.
Okay, cool. Then, yeah, never mind. Yeah, the building that Jebel is waiting outside of is collapsed. The doorway is, half there as you look in. There's collapsed walls and beams, plaster, just all over. And you can see that, like, with effort, you could pick your way through. You kind of get the sense that someone has picked their way through. But that being the case, it's easy for you to just go bing, 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 and teleport to every, like, Laromendis-sized spot without having to bend down, duck, or hop over anything.
Yeah, teleportation magic is so useful.
And being able to do it at will is ridiculously useful.
Yeah, Shield and Misty Step are the spells that Laromendis has infinite uses of.
Amazing.
So that with effort, you could do this. Well, with effort, fuck that.
I already put in the effort to not do that.
Raiken.
Can you change the screen so it's not a picture?
Well, yes, but that just meant that people didn't have to watch me building, which is probably good. Okay, so you lead him inside Jebel. You are, of course, able to transform to any form you like at will, whenever you want now, and he's able to teleport whenever he wants. So, you get down to the basement. What now?
I will lead him to the circle.
Circle is over here. You take him to the circle. Laromendis, you see on the floor a fairly standard teleportation circle carved directly into the stones. In fact, it looks like a stone was either hewn or fabricated to be a single piece for them to carve it upon. And you can clearly see that in this single piece, there is one chunk that is a separate piece, very obviously separate from the rest of the single slab, and it contains some of the characters, but it is very much there and in place.
Okay. Laromendis is going to remove that and pocket it.
Okay. You know, because you have gigantic arcana and have dealt with this before, you have made this particular circle inoperable.
Laromendis will explain that to Jebel. We don't want them teleporting here without our knowledge, so best to control that access.
Jebel.
Jebel just finger gun, just nods like, that makes sense. That makes sense.
When you were in Quetzal form, you were able to see the colors on the stones of the room and around this building that indicated magical auras. And as a Quetzal with this deeper understanding of the magical interactions, the energies of the world, you're able to tell things more specifically than many wizards might be able to. You have a better sense of, how long ago or like what magic is residual versus currently active and things of that nature. A better sense of, well, this was used a little while ago, that was used a long while ago, and this doesn't seem magical at all, but like a little trace something, so maybe it was once magical. You notice that you recall from your time as the Quetzal that not only was the circle seemingly recently charged, used, but the room itself had an aura to it that differed from the rest of the building. It too seemed not currently active, residual, but much stronger than the magic left on the circle itself. The walls around it seemed to have been enchanted recently and for a long time, having a good amount of magic still in them that is not active.
I will convey this information to Laromendis as best I can.
Okay. You find it's not too hard to explain, especially given the senses of the Quetzal. For Laromendis' benefit, he starts describing things in like colors and intensities, but you quickly kind of begin to translate and understand degrading magical auras of previously deactivated enchantments, and you get a sense that he's very likely referring to wards that were turned off and that are still off.
Okay. That makes sense. I would be curious if they were able to describe to Thess how to deactivate them. Because teleporting here when the wards were active would have been dangerous. So Laromendis is like saying this out loud to Jebel. With the circle broken in this way, I don't think there's a strong need to reactivate the wards. Do you have a sense of when the circle had been used, Jebel?
It seemed to be in the last couple of hours.
Okay.
Says Jebel, because he wouldn't have had that information.
Yeah.
One thing is, I don't want to assume anything about Tess. of things that are going on here because we've done that before. So let's err on the side of caution.
Which thing are you referring to with that statement?
He might be doing something, stealing from us. He might not.
Well,
So-
he has taken at least some of the documents that we had been going over. I imagine that there's other things that he has taken as well.
Okay, then forget all that.
Was there any other magic in this location that seemed to be noteworthy in its absence or its degradation, other than the wards here in the teleportation circle?
I saw magic in another room, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. You saw magic auras that seemed like they might indicate the presence of enchanted items.
That was in here, was it?
Yeah. I feel really bad because when I was sick 2 weeks ago and running the session, I had a really great idea for what one of those magic items would be, and I didn't write it down. Now I'm going, what was it?
It's always fun.
But yeah,
other than that.
with your shapeshifting and all that, you find placeholder magic item until I remember what the hell cool idea I had, because it really seemed really cool. I know it did. That's all I remember. Was I was like, oh, that's a good idea.
Armor,
Huh?
wand, sword.
Placeholder
shield.
magic armor, I'm not going to remember right now. It's going to come to me, like, tomorrow.
Oh, that's cool. That's fine.
And I don't want to spend time on it right now, because it's not going to be meaningful.
Yeah.
So, I think that there were, let's say, 2,3 placeholder magic items. Just because it seemed very reasonable that this guild hall, like other ones you've been to, does have a small stash of enchanted items that they've procured over the years. And now there's no one to tell you you can't have them.
And I'm not part of the guild yet.
Isn't that convenient?
So Laromendis is... I think that Laromendis would take them just so that no one else can get in here and take them. I suppose he would first ask if they... Jebel, if they're warded in some manner before just going and grabbing them.
And I would answer that question to the best of my ability.
Yeah, you do detect that, like, these rooms, while having seen some damage from the destruction of the rest of the building, are largely intact. And so you find that these particular placeholder magic items are in cases, a box in one case, a glass display in the other, and your Quetzal form would be able to see that there is a strong magical presence on the cases themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
It seems to give you just a slight feeling of dread when you look upon it. You don't really like the color you're seeing.
I imagine that... the wards on these aren't intended to be, like... I'm trying to think of what Laromendis would be thinking for, like, how paranoid he would need to be about, like, I have dispelled it, therefore it is fully safe, and, like... Versus the, like, if Sam were trying to, ward magic items such that nobody could take them, and had enough time and resources from the guild, what I would do. I don't know that Laromendis has spent appreciable time talking about things such that he would have that information about like standard guild practice about it. But Nalia would.
Nalia might. Are you going to bother her? It's earlier in the night for her. If it's, what was it, 2, 3 in the morning for you now? It would probably be like midnight for her. Maybe a little earlier.
It does seem a little suspicious to be like, what are standard guild practices for warding magic items in the guild halls?
Why do you ask, dear?
Have discovered ruins of guild on Stormreef. Wish to secure items.
How prudent. And conservationist of you, my love.
I think given that he might actually just send twice for that.
She'll, with that second one, give you the answers you seek.
Mm. So am I accurate that I can probably just cast Dispel Magic on each one, and that's probably safe, or is there more to it?
She says that, there would be passcodes, though they would be unique to each guild hall master, that lets them through the wards. Failing to know those, Dispel Magic of sufficiently high level could work, depending on what the item is, since right now they're placeholders and she doesn't really know offhand what they are. If the guild hall considered it a potent enough item, then in addition to like any alarm spell, scrying spell, or like freaking something to summon someone or something to stop the thief, it might include something like a glyph of warding with disintegrate on it to, if not destroy the item, then definitely destroy the person.
Yeah.
The idea of a burn box on a magic item is not strictly laughable, though it is very difficult to achieve.
Mm.
So these are the things she warns you of. She says, unless it's a particularly potent item, it's probably just an alarm spell, and perhaps a summoning spell to pull, if not one of the guild's persons, then some fiend or other extraplanar creature that they've got to deal with to be a problem for the thief.
Yeah.
And so, as long as you can dispel the glyphs of warding, since those are the most common ways of protecting things, you should be fine. That's a much more flowery version of the gist, since, 25 words and all that.
Yeah. So I think that Laromendis will cast Dispel Magic on the things. I think just at low levels, and confer with Jebel to be like, has the magic aura on it changed?
It is really useful having a Quetzal with you.
It's really useful having a Quetzal.
Alright, give me those low-level rolls.
Okay. The first one is 16.
A 16.
So I rolled a 5.
Okay.
The second one... I guess yeah, so I would probably start with the first one. If that didn't work, I would cast it again.
Yeah. Jebel, I assume that you're acquiescing and assuming the Quetzal's form so that you can tell him when he succeeds at removing the bad colors.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know that after his first attempt, they're still there.
Okay.
Oh, well.
Second try is a 28.
Wouldn't you know it? They're still... No, they're gone. That box looks very safe. It suddenly doesn't hurt. What?
I said, with sufficient time,
Yeah.
any wizard with the proper dedication and resources,
It's true.
totally go for the 20th level spells.
Most guild halls are not expecting a 20th level wizard to try and steal from them. Most guild halls expect that should they ever see a 20th level wizard, that wizard is already a part of the guild and a friend.
Most of them would expect that the 20th level wizard is the one being informed of somebody stealing shit.
Yeah, fair enough. Alright, so second case. We'll say that there are 3.
Okay. That was...
This way I can burn some of your resources now that you've just woken up.
Yep. I will have to use Arcane Recovery.
Oh no.
That's...
Travesty.
That is... Motherfucker.
Alright.
16.
A 16. Well,
Wouldn't you know
second verse, same as the first.
it? You're gonna laugh.
16.
No, 28.
Alright, I am
I rolled
laughing.
517, 517.
Alright, well, you're consistent, Mr. 20th level wizard. Again, he is now safe. You can take placeholder magic item number 2.
Okay, and case number 3, using a 5th level spell slot for an 18.
18. Alright.
Might actually...
He might not have to recast. Jebel, the verdict is, it's safe.
Okay.
It's safe.
Yeah, the bad colors went away. Your weird little bird brain is no longer upset at looking at these boxes.
I'm at Gnome again.
A Gnoma. Alright.
And Laromendis will take them.
Okay. You have 3 placeholder magic items. For the
And
time
considerably
being.
fewer spell slots.
for the time being, they are black cuboid voids that defy logic. They will take form later when I remember what the fuck they're supposed to be.
I don't know, they're all transmutation magic, and also really unsettling.
Very unsettling.
You want to put them in your bag of holding and forget about them until, maybe a week from now.
Yeah. Just spitballing. Time. Week-ish. Alright. So, that being done, was there anything else you wanted to do, Jebel? You have now significantly interrupted your long rest, so you will have to start that again.
Yeah. But there's nothing else down here.
I mean, pretty much. The Quetzal form was able to determine that, this whole place down here seems low-level enchanted. Alive, magically speaking. But these were the only things that stood out as something you could take with you. And also, again, the colors giving you particular feelings in your jellies there. You start to get a sense that the Quetzal's base instincts warn you about dangerous magic, so not only are you aware that magic is present and active, but the colors and the squirmies you get based on those colors seem to indicate if it's potentially harmful magic or not.
Well, I've learned something new.
Mm-hmm.
Today has not been a total loss.
Today has not even begun. Alright. In the absence of more stuff you want to do...
But no, I mean, there's nothing else down here, mundane items, even, that we might find useful.
Useful? No. Nothing you couldn't procure elsewhere. There's, pillows and cushions and curtains and extra fabrics and bags and boxes and storage containers of all sorts. vials and glass jars. Maybe you'll want to take a handful of those, as you know that you and Vendar like to make things and put them in those.
Yes.
So. Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Vials
I
of
see. You were trying to
yes,
lead me
yes.
to that, and I'm sorry, it took me a while to get there. But you're
Just
right.
looting the Mages Guild for the vials and looking at this looks important. Bump, dumping it out just for the it's like in Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
You get whatever the fuck it is just so you can dump it out so you have the glass.
Jar.
for
Yeah,
the milk.
you have to buy the potion. The first time it's like a health potion or something, but now you have a jar. Exactly. Yeah, lots of empty jars. They do have some reagents and things. You know that those will be useful, especially to your current endeavor of making antidotes. So that might save you a trip to the woods, but depending on how much you're trying to make, not really.
I am taking everything of the sort.
Okay. Yeah, let's say that, if you're really just gonna just scoop it into the bag of holding, make a note of this with a pencil somewhere, you're gonna be able to put your hands on, let's call it 45 glass vials that are, potion-sized, the size you guys usually use for everything, that standard size, and, we'll call it reagents that'll help you produce 30 potions of your choice.
How many vials did you say it was?
45, excuse me.
Uh,
I remember I picked the number 50 and then decided to move a small number away from it so it wasn't a nice round number.
You hate us.
Yeah, I do.
There's 5 shattered right there.
Quick, Laromendis, use mending on them so that we can have 50.
All of them are missing one piece that just got 2 shattered for mending, so that it's just
It's like
still
right in the
45.
middle of the
It just-
bottom, too.
powder, so you have to cast mending on the powder.
It's been ground up. There just seems to be so much fulgurite around here. Almost like the whole place was hit with lightning. A lot. Weird. Actually, I said that as a joke, but there would actually be a lot of fulgurite around here. Because the whole place is sandy. And it got hit with lightning. A lot. So you kind of gotta watch your step outside, or you know... You might end up with a shard of glass through the sole of your boot. Everybody knows what fulgurite is, right?
I have an idea.
It's fun.
Context clues.
The fulgurite, for those who don't know, is when sandy soil is struck by lightning, because lightning grounds to the ground. It superheats the sand and vitrifies it, turning it to glass. That glass is also can be dug out of the ground and very much often maintains the shape of the end of that lightning bolt, so it'll be this branching little stick figure guy, and those are called fulgurites. Lightning glass.
I thought it was the
movie
best
Sweet
part
Home
of waking
Alabama,
up.
a guy sells those.
According to Cord, the best part of waking up is fulgurite in your cup.
Exactly.
But yeah, just to realize that would be a thing. So, yeah, you got your 45 vials and generic reagents that will let you make 30 potions of your choice when you decide to do that, without having to go off and find new reagents. Okay?
No scrolls.
It seems like this place... You get a sense that this place was kind of a make-to-order kind of place. They didn't keep a big stock of ready-made stuff. Whether that's because it had a shelf life or because they never knew where their resources would need to go, you can't really know. You never came to Storm Refile before to know what life was like here before it got blown up by Elsamonth. But it very much feels like they have the material to make a lot of things, but you don't see completed product being stored anywhere, like not even like generic healing potions just on standby. Now, could those have been looted prior to you getting here? Yes, they could have been. But it's hard to know. Other things that you feel would have been looted weren't, so it feels probable that Coffers was the only one who knew how to get in here, or the importance of it.
Before we leave, I am going to turn into Bloodhound again and just see if I can find, is there a spot that he would have spent a lot of time in? Or did he just come straight into the magic circle?
That's a reasonable question. It does very much smell like he picked his way through, came down here, maybe did a sweep of it, but by and large went straight to that circle, spent a little time at the circle, like his smell seems to linger more heavily there, and then was gone, straight through it. You, this is fair. You pick up natural scents, lots of, trees, leaves, grasses, dirt, soil, that are not native to this place around that circle. You also pick up the sense of people that are not him, and not any of the people here. There is a very specific kind of oiled steel odor that hangs around the circle.
The sense of other people, are they just all around the circle, or do they come in here as well?
It doesn't feel as strong as the scent of Coffers, so you don't feel like they came in. You feel like maybe a group of people stood outside the door to a house and their smell was blown in by the wind.
Yeah, so people were present when teleportation circle was cast, but present on the other side.
Ah.
Yeah. Very much that.
Okay, I think we have everything. I can't find anything else.
Alright.
Then you should get to sleep.
Yes, I should.
Looking a little tired. I'm gonna spare you the, exhaustion check.
I'm gonna spare the exhaustion check and just give you exhaustion.
Yeah. Take one level of exhaustion, Mr. Bloodhound, running around like that, changing forms all willy-nilly. Oh gosh.
Every hour just before the hour, you just transform into something with a high con score.
Well, my gorilla made the check. Cool. My T-Rex made the check. So, you'll return to bed there, Jeb?
Oh yeah, Jebel's just gonna conk out.
Cool. Just quick, in the inn or back into the mansion?
I might go into the mansion.
Okay.
But if everyone else is everyone else still asleep?
Everyone from the party, minus Vendar, appears to be here in the room. I will say that as you come into the room and pass a glance around to see who's here, you'll see them all kind of sleeping soundly, some snoring loudly. What first thing that catches your notice is, of course, the angel, with 6 glimmering silver wings and 2 large swords slung at her hips, standing with her arms folded at the foot of Raiken's bed, looking out away from Raiken.
Jebel is aware of all this, right?
Via the
Like
bond,
the-
you're aware that it happened, but this is your first time seeing her.
You just stop and look at her for a second and go, huh, okay. And give a little
That's
wave.
Kubriel in all our glory. Ah, all right.
I had to stop and go, okay, how literal is she going to be now? She's probably, she was with the party enough to accept that he said everybody under the party is under Raiken's protection. So, but you will see that she, like, watches you hawkishly as you come in, you know, as if scrutinizing, making sure that you are who she thinks you are. She doesn't move. She's extremely statuesque. You know, tall, rigid, good posture, I guess. Her arms folded, so she would need to move before she could grab the swords, and you see that she does not. She simply watches you, as you come in, and as you go, alright, she will, you know, you'll see her eyes kind of narrow, and she'll slowly dip her chin toward you in a gesture of acknowledgement. As you, you know, accept and dismiss that and head toward an open bed, you will be...
I'm going to go into the mansion, if it's available.
So you head toward the mansion door, and as you head toward that spot on the wall where you know the door exists, your attention is going to be drawn back to the room as you hear a rustling, a sudden and kind of violent rustling, as though someone has, you know, decided that they want to roll over completely and adjust all the blankets around them, just vehemently adjusting themselves in the bed, and you turn to see that the entire bed around Cyrus has animated like a mimic, and that the like corners of it are stretching and rising up and curling back down like tentacles, and the whole thing wraps in on itself. And you see the whole thing, like, flip inside out, rotating like a toroid donut. And when it stops moving, the bed looks completely like it's never been slept in, and Cyrus is gone.
Is there a burp or no?
I thought about there being a burp, but then I made it not a mouth. There's a burp.
It doesn't need to have a mouth to burp.
It's
That's
true.
what's up.
There is a burp. It toroids him into another dimension, and then burps.
Who's in the room with me now? That is awake.
Kubriel, and I don't... Lair, where did you go?
I think that there's nothing else that Laromendis would have been thinking to do in the guild hall, so he probably would have gone back with Jebel. So he would have seen it too.
Yeah. So Jebel is going to like glance from Laromendis to Kubriel, and he's going, you know, someday something horrible like that's going to happen for real, and we are not going to be able to tell the difference.
It will be an unfortunate period of time.
Considering Leah's trancing, I assume she would notice too.
Yeah, actually, that's a fair assessment. You trance now, so you are aware of your surroundings, and you would see this, very scary thing.
Yeah, it would take me out of the trance for a bit. And I will...
Happened right across from you.
Yeah, as Jebel said what it did, I will just nod and then go back to my trance.
Rowan saw this happen. And watched you all do nothing about it. He looks absolutely beside himself.
Like his Laromendis, Cyrus is cursed. This happens on occasion. He always comes back. Or
Yeah,
he has
it looks
historically
worse
come
than
back.
it is.
He has no memory of any discomfort or anything of the sort after these events, so we assume that there is none.
Distantly, you feel.
I was trying to phrase it as poorly as possible.
You feel like you can hear through the veil pained screaming, just barely coming through like a TV in the house next door.
I don't know what you're talking about. I hear nothing.
He just sort of... I don't even know. He's never experienced this other than that complete abandonment of, like, the abdication of responsibility for the well-being of the allies. You can see that in his eyes. This accusation. Without words.
We have tried to dispel the curse, and have determined that there's nothing that we can do at present, which is uncomfortable. And Laromendis does, like, appear concerned when he's saying that we don't have the ability to get rid of it, because he is fairly confident in his magic at this point.
He seems to very tacitly accept this.
Rest well. Laromendis will also go into the mansion.
He very much shakes his head side to side at that.
Looking forward to Derek's response to that.
You get taller. He got singularity.
Jeb will be like, yeah. Going or coming back again. It's always something.
It's always something. I liked when the tiger ate him. That was
a good one.
That was peak the thing for me.
All unhinged like a snake.
Alright, then the only person I have left to talk to is Jacob.
Yes.
So, Vendar had gone back to continue experimenting with the small. He would do that, until he felt tired and went to bed, or would he push through exhaustion?
He'd probably want to sleep for like 4 or 5 hours, but
just
so he's not like
just so you know, mechanically, you require 6 to be considered fully rested.
I'd
So
be
if you
willing to roll
want to
for
sleep
exhaustion.
to minimum for no exhaustion, but not get the benefit of a long rest, you would sleep for 6 and then go and do shit.
Fair enough. Yeah. So sorry, Jacob. One more time on that.
I have the boots that give me advantage on exhaustion rolls, so
It's true. So I guess you are going to use them as needed. Are you going to? You're going to sleep for 5 and then just deal with the exhaustion using the boots?
yeah, I just want to sleep for like 4 or 5 hours, and
Okay.
just for like story reasons, like I didn't not sleep at all, but
Okay.
I'll roll for exhaustion.
Yeah. I mean, if you were going to do 4 or 5 hours, then I would probably feel like you rested a bit, so the exhaustion wouldn't start to hit you till later, because you got some rest. You've staved it off a while, and those boots are going to help. Okay. So you sleep very little, and then you begin working again to try and develop this small. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Then, in that case, we will make it daylight. Everybody other than Vendar gets the benefits of a long rest.
Does Laromendis get the benefit of a short rest?
Yes, you may have the benefit of a short rest. Apply to game board. In the morning, the mansion will need to be recast again if you wish to keep it around.
Yes, I will do so. 7th level? Yes, 7th level. I do that.
Alright, so people will, I believe, temporarily need to abandon so that it can be recast. Though, perhaps you can look into finding a way to just recast it to extend its duration.
Yeah, I think that would take focused effort on Laromendis' part, because it's not
Oh, it
for the
would,
spell.
but, you know.
But yeah, probably worth it.
If we fast forward 2 weeks, which I'm hoping we get to, I think that would not be unreasonable if he were to decide, and I feel like he would, having to recast it every morning in the same spot. It's just like, I get everybody and their stuff out, do the thing. Okay, everybody take all your stuff back in. That gets old.
Yeah.
And you
And it
feel
gets him one step closer to whatever the fuck Lysandrius was doing.
I was about to say that, given your interactions with him recently, you feel this is very within your power. Not just within the realm of possibility, but within your power to do. So, all of you present here may wake up and tell me what you, if there's anything very important that you want to do today. I want to get to a point where we can say, okay, we've taken care of all the stuff that needs to be taken care of on an individualized basis so that we can go, whoop, 14 days into the future.
I think that... So, Laromendis would have identified the items last night just to use that time. I don't need to know what they are now and all of that, but just so when you hand them to us, that can be done.
I need to figure out what they are.
And then he would have double-checked that were all of the papers taken?
Right. So, you go to check on that. There don't appear to be any missing.
Interesting. Laromendis will take those papers out of the mansion.
Okay.
Do they disappear?
No. They appear to be real.
Interesting. So Laromendis' assumption is then that Coffers came in, made copies of things, and took those copies out, which I think would probably have triggered that response from Sebastian.
It's a reasonable
would
assumption.
have effectively been taking the paper out.
Yeah. That is a reasonable assumption.
Interesting. Well, at least we don't need to cast the spell again to be able to read the papers. Or they could have been changed, some of them.
Are you going to investigate that?
That's probably what Laromendis would spend because he's going to be awake for a while when everyone else is still asleep. So I think I'd like to make an investigation check for...
Okay.
That's what he was doing during that time after the identifies.
Okay. I'll have you make 3 of those. Keep them to yourself for now. I'll come back to you.
Yeah. Oh.
Alright, the rest of you. Leah, Jebel, Raiken,
Yeah.
Yuki.
I have one thing I would do, and probably overnight or during any of the nights in the time skip, that I would dream to Barinor, and inform him of our plan of attack, when the plans of attack, or when the attack is gonna happen.
Okay.
So that he too can gather his resources.
Okay. I think it is reasonable that you would eventually catch him, especially being that you now trance, so you can spend a moment here and there attempting to get him, and still rest. So you are able to send a dream to him to give him this message. As with the previous time, there is a few moments where he's not quite believing that you're really there. You have to reconvince him about the spell and all of that. But you explain to him that you have this army, that in 2 weeks you're going to be using it to invade Ebengard to try and stop the dragon threat, that there is another army going to be there. Is the message you want to send him to get what he needs to help, or to get what he needs to get away?
To help. That was like or when I originally talked to him, it was so he could spread the news and like
Yeah.
make people get up and such. So he probably have made some contacts since.
Yes, he has. And he tells you that he has been doing as you asked. And so a lot of the places that he's been to are forming a coalition of sorts, although King Hadvar Lionborn had already mustered almost the entire strength of Ebengard's armed forces to the dragon's location.
Yeah. But he has a chance to like gather people that you like the lesser like the people you normally wouldn't think help, basically, like thieves and
Yeah.
pirates.
Yeah, he will let you know that there were quite a large number of those types of people who were interested in protecting their home, their livelihood, their families, whatever it is they hold dear. There was also a very significant number of people who he was able to make contact with about this, who decided that risking life and limb and wealth for this wasn't worth it, and so there has been a bit of an exodus from Ebengard's borders, Ebengardians fleeing to other nations.
That's fine too.
Yeah. It's...
But every help we can get it.
Yeah, it's inevitable. So, you will have, just mechanically speaking, you will have a small force, Baranor's troop, to help you with this.
Nice.
Yukikaze.
Leah's basically becoming like this personal contacts. Like.
Yeah, I mean, you're creating yourself a little spy network.
Yeah.
And using it well, all things considered. So yeah, I think that's working out for you for now. Yukikaze, you know that the army won't need to train till a little later today, as Thandros told you last night. They would revel, and then they would rest extra. So today would be a light day of training, which is why he only wanted them reveling for 4 hours, so that they didn't lose more than most of today. So, is there anything in particular Yukikaze would like to do, either army-wise or personal, with this morning up to, afternoon?
Not really. What's his face still has all my documents for Tatsuya, right?
What's his face being Laromendis, yeah.
Well, yes, because he was going to give them to Coffers.
He and Coffers.
No, so Laromendis and Coffers have been going over the documents together, and Laromendis is, at least as far as he is aware, still in possession of all of the documents.
I was just wanting to confirm that real quick. So yeah, I don't have anything to review on that side for myself personally. You know what? I think I will sit down.
Your shit.
Not necessarily. I'm not going to commune with Bahamut, but more of like a prayer
Mm-hmm.
and speaking my mind and how I feel about everything with him,
Oh, tell me.
and how my course of actions, the way I feel. Well, you want me to do it in detail?
Yeah, I feel like this is something that deserves it. What is on Yukikaze's mind? What is he feeling about how everything is playing out right now, about Bahamut's involvement?
And I don't remember. It's one of those things since we've played so long. I don't know what I've already said to him before.
That's fine. It really
Well,
doesn't matter what you've said to him before. I
How
want
is
to
my
know what you're thinking now. You've taken control of a cult that reveres him above all.
I was not well since I kind of decide this on the fly. I don't really have.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm gonna word it. Just give me one quick second.
Yeah, that's fine.
However,
Yuki's feeling. What's he worried about? What's he confident about? If there's anything he's upset or confused by.
a lot of things weigh on my head, Bahamut. There are. I believe the path I have chosen is correct. Just knowing the devastation of what one dragon can do, I fear the terrible feats that Tiamat can accomplish if Tiamat comes to our plane. I know you wish to dispose of Tiamat and wish to end the evil, but at this time, I don't see a clear sight of defeating Tiamat without great losses. And being someone born of Torlos and the people of the sands, being mindful and looking out for each other has always been a big deal. And everyone's life is precious. And I cannot bring myself to want to bring Tiamat to this plane, especially at this time. Even with this great army that I have obtained to put a fight up to the dragons. I only wish the best for the world. I don't want things to get worse. But that's just how I feel at the moment. Still a lot on my mind. But I believe my path is right. And I hope that even though it might not be exactly with what you believe, this insignificant creature that I am will do everything to the fullest that follows the tenets that you've given us, and look out for everyone in the world. So that's kind of the prayer I do along that lines.
All right. As you sit there on your bed, eyes closed, focusing inwardly on the energies of your breath, your life, the feel of your connection to the spirit of your people. You're going to feel like a presence. Feels as though it kind of descends and curls about you, almost like a reassuring hand on your shoulder. It's not warm. It's actually kind of cool, like a calming cool, like a gentle breeze or the gentle flow of a stream. And you get the sense in your mind's eye of this silvery blue light about you as this presence settles and seems to attempt to comfort you, to quell your emotions. And you open your eyes, and what you see around you is the room as it was when you awoke. You can see the members of your party who remain as they prepare to depart to their different chores, things they wish to accomplish for the morning, but they all are frozen, immobile, as if captured in a moment in time. And this silver light that seemed to lay this calmness upon you, you find drifting in your peripheral vision, and it seems to swirl over to the bed beside yours, where it takes form. The light gathering and intensifying and filling in this outline of a person sitting there, and after a moment it seems to solidify, and you see a silver-scaled dragonborn in loose-fitting robes of many colors, greens and reds and blues. And he's got these pale eyes, as though clouded with age. And he looks upon you with these cloudy gray eyes. And he says in a voice that seems to contain the ages of this world, "Humility before one's patron is admirable. But the desire to protect others, now that is of Bahamut. You have petitioned me before, Yukikaze, child of the desert. I know well your father, though he has yet to join me in my realm. He insists upon awaiting you in the Shadowfell, in the company of the Raven Queen. He has great faith in you, and I am forced to respect that. Rarely have I granted power to two champions at the same time, and so rarely have blessed followers of mine come at odds with one another. What have you to say of my other champion, Yukikaze?
Real quick out of character. So this is a mildly different look than before. I forget if it was identical to the...
No,
I feel like it's a little bit
he has appeared differently every time you've seen him. One of the first times you saw him, he appeared to be an aged human man with birds.
Yes, that's why I wanted to make sure I wasn't mistaking that. Okay.
Another time he appeared as a dragonborn, youthful and strong, who then became a massive dragon. But
and then there was also me talking with Shagazir himself.
Yes. But Shagazir, different person.
Yeah. No, I'm just remembering all my instances of communing with these people, individuals.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he wants to know what you thought of his other champion.
I do not think it's a bad feeling to want to unify the world and also eliminate evil to create happiness for everyone. But for me, every life is precious. I know for you being the great Lord Bahamut, our lives are way differently to you than they do to each other here in our mortal realm. And with his path he chose, there was great sacrifice. And I do not wish to see that. And I also do not wish to prolong my family's life. People that wish to pass on, I'd like them to pass on like my father chose to, because we all do wish to be with you. But because of the choices of the other other champion, I felt that their lives were taken too soon to they could contribute to this world. So to me, his goal was a righteous and good one, but his methods were a little foolish. But that's also my stance, and it's not necessarily mine is better or more right than his.
The older Dragonborn stares you down as you say this, seeming to weigh your words in his cloudy eyes before nodding and saying, "You need not apologize for your judgment for which I asked. God becomes accustomed to always doing the right thing and choosing the best path. Rarely are there those that the god respects that question him or her. One expects to be questioned by one's rivals. But you are, as you know, far from the first to choose this path, and it is a path that I lay before you willingly, Champion Yukikaze. You, like your predecessor, Shagrazir, have chosen to spare people of this world suffering under my sister, even for so short a time as it may take to slay her. And while it is not my greatest wish to see it done that way, I respect your decision. I chose you because I believed you exemplified my teachings. I chose Tatsuya because I believed he exemplified my teachings as well, and I think that this is still true of the both of you. Unfortunately, Tatsuya made a risky gamble, and it burned him. Quite literally, as a matter of fact.
You're talking, Lord Bahamut, you're talking about the incident with the talking with Tiamat and double-crossing her, correct?
He nods slowly. That is of which I speak. It was a gamble, and one that could well have paid off. But as you have stated, it risked much, and he lost his soul over it. This is not a fate I wish for my champions. It is not a fate I wish for you. While
Forgive me, my lord.
he stops talking to listen
sorry
to
for interrupting.
you. No, he stops talking to listen to you.
Forgive me, I did not mean to interrupt. You say he lost his soul. With you giving me your precious time at this moment, we believe we have his soul in an amulet. Is that still the case, or is this actually another entity?
He seems to look around the room at your compatriots, who are all immobilized. And he says, with sort of a quirk to his lip, a reptilian smile, I do not risk much time with this. Time is as I wish it. As for my champion's soul, you were very lucky, I think, that the Master of Souls, the Lord of the Hells, decided to return it to you as he did. I do not wish to think of what I might end up owing to Asmodeus for that small favor, but I'm certain he will come to call. That is a problem for me, and not for you, however. For you, I can tell you with certainty that this amulet does indeed possess the soul of my former champion, though you will need to find a more suitable vessel at some point.
I understand.
If you are able to speak with him before I am, I would ask that you convey my appreciation of his fervor, if not his results.
It'll be my pleasure.
That's a good lad. Now then, you have already received many blessings from my former champion, Shograzir. And now you have my blessing to carry out your plan and see my sister's evil kept from these lands as long as you may maintain her prison.
I thank you for responding to this champion's prayers, and thank you very much for your blessing.
As I told you, Champion Yukikaze, you exemplify my teachings that the weak be protected by the strong against the tyrannical, and that you show concern and compassion for the least of my people. I will find other champions in the future who will exemplify my vengeance against my sister for her aggressions. But that is for another time. Fight well and fight smart, Yukikaze. Her children are never to be trifled with, as mine were not.
I'll kind of give like a light bow, or like lower my head.
You will feel that presence again, that comforting hand on your shoulder, though you realize that this time it is whatever this qualifies as a physical form. This apparition of Bahamut you see, the aged dragonborn, has stood from the bed and laid his hand upon your shoulder. Be my greatest champion, Yukikaze. I will be watching.
I will. Thank you, Lord Bahamut.
He nods, and you see those cracked and weathered scales crinkle around that mouth. And his image seems to blur before you and fade before the whole body seems to break up into 7 points of golden light that swirl around you and then scatter, disappearing into the walls. And as they fade, you will hear a voice as though echoing from a great distance, fading off into infinity, saying, "Continue to protect the people of this world, champion. Unseat the despots." And as the last words of your god ring in your ears, you're going to hear a thunk of leather against wood as the people around you, your allies, begin moving once again as time resumes its march forward.
Okay. I will get up and get some breakfast then.
Alright, you had time to do that. Raiken,
Me.
you rise with most of the others, Jebel being the only one still asleep, and shortly after you rise, you see Yukikaze assume a prayerful posture on the bed and steady his breathing, and he's like that for several minutes before he looks around and gets up to go get breakfast. So what would you like to do? Anything of major import ahead of this time skip?
No, I mean, the only thing that I want to do, which I would figure would be like during the time skip, like closer to the battle, would be to call on the warlocks that I met in Autumn's Elegy.
Yeah, that would happen perhaps even after you teleported.
So Raiken doesn't have anything much of import other than like pretty much like through the rest of his time he just wants to train the army and like train with Kubriel.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. I guess we'll talk about that later, since for right now the soldiers are also still recovering.
That's fine. Raiken is perfectly fine with just eating breakfast and training on his own with Kubriel.
Vendar, you're working diligently to do the small stuff still?
Yeah.
Okay, so why don't you roll me an exhaustion check? Advantage, obviously.
Rolling 18.
18, alright. You're pushing through. You're feeling good still. Are you primarily focusing on the small? You have multiple things running?
Mostly what I want to do is if I can make it so I can get like add potion effects to the small.
Right. And these would have been Jebel's ability drain potions?
Yeah, something like that. I'm hoping, I don't know if we have any right now, and it might not be possible, but I would love if I could get like a potion of speed and make some that would give them potion
Slow.
of speed.
Oh. Like, to be able to drop that on allies?
Yeah, throw a pocket of haste on
Yeah.
allies.
Okay. That doesn't seem unreasonable, and with Jebel's help, you could easily get the ingredients, I think, that you need, since he has transit via plants. So once he wakes up, if you aren't able to get the ingredients on your own, then he can help with that. Why don't you roll me some of your potion-making checks? I don't think he's actually even had a chance to tell you what he acquired, so I guess he'll have some good news for you when he does wake up. Possibly.
Maybe.
Maybe he'll just keep them all for himself. Also a reasonable decision.
How many rolls do you want me to make?
For this, why don't you give me 2 for now?
One of them was really good. I think I want to use my inspiration on the other one. I got a 25 on one.
Okay.
12 on the other one with inspiration.
Okay. Alright, so what you...
Don't you have proficiency?
Right. And it means I can't. Minimum is 10, so it's a 16 actually.
Alright. So, even without Jebel, you're able to experiment with this thing to see what you can get it to do, using, like, water as a stand-in for any other potion you might try to mix in to see if you can get it to spread it out. As you had discovered when you used just a little bit of it with the reactive agent, you got it to forcefully create a cloud in an area which you knew you could make, like, smoke bomb arrowheads, basically. You can do something similar with that, but by placing it in like a small draft of water, you're able to get it to spread water vapor out, so you feel like you can use it to make a cloud. It makes a very moist, damp, thick black smoke that now, like, seems to deposit greasy coal sludge on surfaces. You make several, like, black rings in the garden area of the mansion while you test this, but you by changing your proportions, your ratios in there, you eventually get to a point where, at least with water, you have found a way to get it to produce a fine mist, and it kind of evenly spread this water throughout the cloud, and you feel that you, with a similar consistency, potion achieve an effect there. And so, potion of speed being used as an example, you could create a cloud of speed, that if people were to pass through it, they would gain the benefits of the potion of speed.
Yes.
Similar for potions of healing and the like, you could create clouds of healing.
Useful.
They wouldn't be the most pleasant thing to pass through, and you, testing it upon yourself, find that it's a good idea to close one's eyes as one passes through, lest you get it, the moist, greasy, black sludge in your eyes. But other than that, it seems to work.
Alright, I'll have to inform the army of this so that they know when I use it to close their eyes when they go through it.
Yep, so as long as the potion can stand being vaporized, that'll work. Alright, so you work on that until Jebel gets up. I think I want to hit... I feel like I'm going to end up doing the most with Laromendis, so I'm going to push you till after Jebel, but I'm going to go to Jebel right now. Jebel.
Yeah, so when Jebel wakes up, he will go look for Vendar.
Okay, yeah. You were in the mansion, I realize this means that you would have had to be evacuated from the mansion and then gone back in to finish your rest when Laromendis recast it.
I mean, he did. The spell ends, and he just is on the ground in front of it. Then you just open the door and roll him back in. One of the servants carries him to the bed.
So yes, you wake up. You can hear and smell and see Vendar experimentating down in the courtyard.
Oh, with after the mansion was cast again,
Yeah.
Vendar has a workshop that looks identical to Vicandrius's. So the second floor of the library is gone.
Oh.
And instead of in the back of the garden area, there's that workshop.
Gotcha. Very well. We modify the mansion. You have some blast-resistant walls now.
I eventually find Vendar.
Yes. Yeah. You realize that this place looks different than when you went to sleep, and different from all the other times you've been here. Remodeling has been done while you were out.
Well, lots of things have changed. Yeah, Jebel will just walk up to Vendar. And just, how's it going?
Oh, it's going really well. I'm making these smoke bomb potions. I want to make potions of speed to make it so that they can give haste to everybody at the same time. Also, if you use for other potions too. Like
yeah.
I believe you don't recognize the smole that he's working with.
I think I've got a handle on it.
They have to let people. How are these going to be deployed?
I will probably attach them to arrowheads and shoot them at the ground, or maybe just use some sort of bomb to make it go off.
Yeah.
The idea of these ones is that it will create a bunch of smoke that has beneficial effects when you breathe it.
Yeah. No, it's just with the potions of haste. Potions of haste work exactly the same way as the spell, right?
I believe that's true. You get the one extra action, you get the double move speed.
And then the
Yeah,
lethargy.
you just gain the
And then the
effects of haste
lethargy
spell.
after 3 rounds. Or 10...
Yeah.
1 minute, excuse me, after 1 minute.
For 1 minute.
Yeah, no, Jabba will just. It's just whenever they're being used, you probably don't want to hit too many people with them at the same time because of that whole lethargy thing at the end when they wear off. Good idea,
we
just
wouldn't
to
want everybody
do them
to
in.
be haste at the same time.
Hmm?
But you haste one group, and then a few rounds later, you haste another group.
Yeah, like just
Stagger it.
there's a word for that.
Stagger.
Stagger.
Mm-hmm. That way, when when one group is recovering, there's still other people fighting. Haste
Is
a
Laromendis
powerful
here as
spell,
well?
so-
Oh no, he's out in the. Laromendis is out in the inn.
No, I
Is he?
actually think that if you ask that question, a servant would appear and offer to direct you to him, because I believe, Laromendis, you are here in the mansion.
Yeah, I think that until it was like time for breakfast, or if somebody didn't get him, he would probably still be working on those investigation rolls that I made.
Yes, you made them. I wanted to get
that's
to
a
them
time-consuming
later. I didn't
process?
expect this
Yeah.
crossover, so maybe I'll get to them now. Anyway, so are you going to let this servant lead you to Laromendis?
I will just turn to Vendar and say, "Oh, I found a load of vials and some other stuff, so I pulled them out of the bag of holding as well. Pulled the
Yeah.
vials out, big box of vials.
Just a big old box of glass vials for putting potions in.
And poisons.
Well, not all for poisons. I am making antidotes as well.
I know. Potions and poisons, both. Make sure you know the difference between vials.
So I'll place the box near Vendar and just say, use what you need. I'll take what's left.
Thanks.
And then I'll turn. Okay, show me to. I might be back in a minute. And then I turn to the servant and just say, well, "Can you lead me to Laromendis, please?"
We're at a beach. Can you fabricate vials from a beach?
Technically.
Endless vials.
Like I said, this whole place got zapped up, so
Yeah,
it's covered
I
in
think-
fulgurites.
I think Laromendis would see that and be like, but I don't know if he would think to say anything unless like somebody was asking about vials. But yeah, that hadn't even crossed my mind. Such a fun spell.
Anyway, so you've got vials. You're trying to impress upon Vendar not to use up all your vials because you want to put good stuff in them.
Yeah. And then I want to go see Laromendis.
Yes. Okay. So you're going to follow this servant to Laromendis. It's going to lead you back across the garden into the main house, into what is usually the dining room, and here you see that Laromendis is moving about the length of the table, where he's got dozens, maybe hundreds of documents spread across its surface, and he seems to be going over them. Both, leaning in to go over things in great detail, and then kind of stepping back to look at the whole alternately. For Laromendis, with your investigation checks, here is what you learn. As you go through the documents, because of your eidetic memory, all of the documents that you did go over yourself, because as you recall, the previous night, you had divided them between you to be more efficient. So you didn't necessarily see every document that he did, and vice versa, that he worked on. Because of your eidetic memory, you realize that there are minute changes to several of the documents you worked on. A word here or there that changed entire meanings of what's there. Change locations of things, change names of people that without your eidetic memory you would not have realized was changed. And because you didn't see his in great detail, you don't have those memory markers to know if he changed anything there too, but these changes are so prevalent and so specific, it is hard to imagine that they were not made to the documents he specifically was working on.
Yeah.
It looks like there was a concerted effort on his part to misdirect, to mislead where funds were coming from and who contacts were that Tatsuya used.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Devious.
Extremely.
Gotta respect it. I do think Laromendis is, like, legitimately impressed at the, like, level of detail and the fact that, like, pretty much if he were anyone else, it would have been very easy for this to fully slip by.
Yeah. It does seem like thought was put into this, and the changes are so small and sparse throughout. They just change things that a person without prior knowledge of the document would have no way of knowing it had been changed. But you, with your eidetic memory and having seen them before the change was made, are able to say, well, wait, this particular document used to call out a city in Thanandir, and now it's calling out a city in Sylvanas.
Mm-hmm.
And you find this pattern of changes that don't seem to be necessarily implicating, like, moving you from one location to another in specificity, such as obfuscating the original direction of movement.
Yeah. It's not trying to implicate someone else, it's trying to muddy the waters for figuring out things.
Yeah. And it's really quite, like, as a scholar, this is quite well executed.
Yeah.
As you said, were you anyone else, this might have worked.
Yeah, I think Laromendis is very impressed, and also probably pretty angry. Just because it's, like, all of this information has been fucked with.
Yeah.
I think I know something that I'm going to do during the time that we have, during the skip.
You're going to restore it?
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, now that I've given you that information so you have an idea of where Laromendis is mentally, Jebel enters, following a servant who is directing him to you.
If I recall correctly, Laromendis did mention that documents were taken when we were in the cellar of the...
Yes, at that point, Laromendis had told you that documents were taken.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I just wanted to double check. So, Jebel will approach the table or whatever it is. You have all this laid out. Did you figure out what was taken?
He is like not. He doesn't turn to like look at you. He's still like looking at the things and like making notes while he's and he does appear to be very angrily making notes. And he says it's worse than him taking things. He changed them. And then Laromendis will hold up a document and point out specific places that were changed. It does not look like anything has been done to them.
It is incredibly well concealed. The handwriting matched perfectly.
these were, and he says what the actual thing was on them, and things like that are everywhere. To try and figure out what he was hiding in the things that he went over himself, I'm going to need to look at the originals.
You doing your little spell again?
I think I will have to.
I have a question. This is Jebel to Laromendis. I don't know how it works. How does this simulacra spell work?
It creates a duplicate of the target of the spell. They are physically... physically weaker is not necessarily... They have half HP.
Not as robust.
And there we go. They're not as robust, and they are incapable of regaining spent resources or learning anything meaningful. They also follow the orders of whoever created them.
And does the target have to be present?
Yes, for the entire
Oh.
casting of the spell, which if you're casting the spell itself is... Sam believes 24 hours. Laromendis says the correct number.
Mm-hmm.
It takes that long.
If you're
to
using
cast it?
Wish, yes.
Oh.
And it's also a very expensive spell. I think it's 7,000 or 6,000 GP worth of ruby dust. To cast it with a Wish is in action, but would still require you to... I think would still require you to touch the person, because it duplicates the effect of the spell, and the effect of the spell is like you touch a target and create a simulacrum of them. I don't think you can create one of somebody who you aren't near.
Checking.
Even with Wish. Unless you were using the function of Wish that isn't duplication of a spell.
Right. Yeah, you could definitely do it however you wanted if you did not duplicate the spell. Let's see. Range area touch. The simulacrum, let's see, of a beast within range, and since the range is touch, you have to be touching them in order to create it. So, if you did not duplicate, or if you did not duplicate simulacrum exactly, and you were just like, I want to create a simulacrum of this person who's not here using Wish, then it would have the requisite costs of doing that, but you would accomplish it, and you know that.
Yeah. The simulacra does have the memories of the person who it is. It has their intelligence. It is just forced to follow the commands of its creator.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's where I was heading. If you cast your memory spell to a point when Tess was around, would you be able to do simulacrum on the memory of him?
Voice in the sky?
Hang on.
We have not had in-depth discussions about doing things like that. I don't know if... I think that the simulacrum would fall apart at the end of the spell. Because I think by virtue of casting it on someone who was themselves illusory,
Yeah.
it would also be the same level of illusory.
Well,
If it was if it was possible to do in the
Yeah,
first place.
It's
But
according to the rules written, it's not possible to do because you can only duplicate a beast or a humanoid, so you can't duplicate
Okay,
an
yeah,
illusion
yeah.
of a beast or a humanoid.
Okay, cool. So, no. It would not be possible?
No, does not sound like it.
That's honestly, that's a better answer. It would be so much of a hassle to try and start figuring out the like minutia of that kind of thing.
Yeah. For intents and purposes, I'm going to say that your spell generates illusions. They're just solid and interactable.
Yeah.
It's weird. It doesn't specify in Simulacrum that the Simulacrum has all of their memories. It just
I
is
think
heavily
that-
implied.
Yeah, I think that we ruled with that because it was so heavily implied.
It
by,
is
like,
so
all of the
heavily implied
mental
because it
stats we were
has
saying,
all
and
of
the
their
fact that they can't
spells.
learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can't learn and they can't gain levels and they can't regain spells. But that kind of makes it sound like they...
Yeah.
It's hard to know. I've also seen takes on it from other DMs where the simulacra are like golems, and they have no personality whatsoever. They just follow commands, having the abilities of the person that was copied, but none of their intelligence, which is another take that is not refuted by the description here.
Yeah.
The description here is, unfortunately, on that one point, incredibly vague, in that it doesn't mention it in specificity at all. It simply says that it's a duplicate, it's partially real, it can take actions and be affected as a normal creature, it has all the statistics, except that it's a construct. Like, it does not talk about their knowledge or anything. Then later, it says it's friendly, it obeys your commands, it lacks the ability to learn or become more powerful, it never increases its level, and it can't regain spell slots. And then it just talks about repairing it. And then it's destroyed if you cast another one. That's it. So it never actually says that the simulacrum has their mind and personality. We've been running it that way, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. There's just also not anything wrong, according to this, with the people who run it like a mute golem that just follows commands. Which is interesting. I don't know if there is, like, one right answer, or if there needs to be one right answer. But it is not specifically described here.
Yeah. So, to Jebel's point, we cannot use my spell to create a simulacrum of Thess to interrogate him for what he knows, for what he did.
Also, there
was an idea.
I'm also just noticing this, but if you're not using Wish to do it, you have to be touching the subject for 12 straight unbroken hours.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's shit casting that spell as a real spell. There are so few reasons to do it as a player.
Yeah, it's like, I'm just gonna wish it done 6 seconds.
It's like, I'm gonna our arms are lashed together. we're gonna three-legged race this shit while I'm casting this spell.
So dumb. What does the simulacrum do if the caster dies?
I am free.
I'm free melts.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. In summer.
It was a very clever plan.
Yeah.
A clever ask, Jebel. We could, however, tomorrow gate him to us, create a simulacrum of him, and question it. Which,
Such
out of
dick
character,
moves.
I'm now realizing is the... I mean, one of the most terrifying ways of interrogating somebody.
Yeah. It has to follow your commands. They have no way of stopping you from doing that. It is the biggest violation.
Yeah.
That's horrifying. You've effectively mind-controlled them and bent them to your will, but it's not them, and they're watching you do it.
I mean, you don't need to do it in front of them.
But why wouldn't
you're,
you?
Like, evil.
Sure. Doing it in the first place, even out of their sight, is definitely not evil. Never evil. I could not see a big bad evil guy doing this. But that's because they're not evil enough.
The big bad is just like, Oh my god! You just show up to them with a simulacrum of the dragon.
This is how you realize.
The right hand man of the
This is how you
This is how
realize
you
that
realize
so
that you're
many
the
big
big bad?
bads are just adventurers that got too powerful and got the ability to do too many things too easily and lost their morality.
Anywho, so Laromendis does say that because he's just talking about solutions that he can conceive of with the level of magic that we have. I do think after saying it, Laromendis does stop for a minute and actually consider what he said.
About gating him.
Gating him and then simulacrating him?
Oh yeah. The gating him, he didn't seem to be concerned about. It was that we can just gate him and then cast Simulacra on him with a wish, and then we can just interrogate that. And he just gets it. He looks off into the middle distance for a second, as he is fully comprehending the horror of what he has just said.
Oh.
And then I think he casts Private Sanctum. Oh no, he's not. He's in the mansion at the moment. Because we do need to re-up Private Sanctum.
And if you stay here long enough, permanent private sanctum in the presidential suite of the world that we're in. Someday I'll finish this building.
I mean, it is in some level of disrepair because, a dragon.
But I also described that this was the most working building in the city at this point. Anyway, so you make your petition, Jebel. What's next? Anything else to that discussion?
To Laromendis again. I don't know any, but does anybody know any spells that let you read minds?
Many people do.
Well, I mean, if people we have access to in particular.
I believe Cyrus knows Detect Thoughts.
It's like a level 2
Oh,
spell.
he's very useful right now.
He is.
Both of you are aware of the donutting.
He is resting at the moment. Yes.
Is that what we're calling it now?
I mean, it was in a bed.
He is indisposed.
He is sleeping.
Other than him, I could very easily travel and learn the spell and then come back.
If we traveled, if you did that memory spell of yours,
Yes.
and you chose a time where you were present, would memory you be on the bond with the rest of us, or?
I don't believe so. Not in this. Memory bond would be past me would be on the.
Oh my
past
god,
ones.
that's amazing! Past you would be on the
Does that
past
mean we
bond,
can talk
talking
to
to
past-
past friends that aren't in the illusion, but are still very real to him.
But right. So yes, past Laromendis would be on the past bond. Not
No,
the
I was
current
just-
bond.
I'm without access to Simulacrum, which I think would probably be the easiest way to determine exactly what's going on. I'm wondering, can you even read the mind of the memory people? Detect thoughts might not even be.
I think Detect
An
Thoughts
option.
needs to target a creature, so just like Simulacrum wouldn't work, Detect Thoughts wouldn't work.
Yeah, so no detect thoughts. So we can't. If we are going to question, if we're going to use the spell to see past Thess, then we will have to question him the old-fashioned way.
I think we're up to that task anyway.
Could they drink a truth serum?
Things are technically real in as far as that. So if you convince them to drink a truth serum, it should potentially work.
There's also Zone of Truth, which could probably be useful.
Yeah. We should really... You've always treated this just like normal interrogation, so none of this, how can we target things inside the spell, what spells mattered. We should look closer at these corner cases. The short answer might be the best answer, which is just, you can't affect them with, like, spells or potions that require you to target a creature with their effects, but talking to them conversationally and convincing them to give up information is, of course, something that works.
Yeah.
We should discuss it, but not here, not now.
Yeah, offline.
So, you are thinking that you'll want to cast the historical lens inside the mansion to figure out what he changed.
It couldn't be in the mansion because the mansion is not the same place. So the historical lens wouldn't function.
Oh, no, it's true.
So yeah, no, like by I need to consult the originals. Laromendis meant go into the room where they were.
Do it in there.
These
again.
documents and the original ones.
I gotta be honest, that
them.
finding out that because of the necessity of recasting the spell, you can't use the historical lens in the mansion right now is crushing to me.
That we can't watch what he did.
Yeah, because it was awesome.
Yeah.
Ah, that's so sad.
Laromendis might be mad enough at him that he would do the gate simulacrum thing.
As Laromendis... Okay, so about the spell, whatever it's called.
Which
historical
lens. The memory one.
Lens? Okay, yeah.
As he... Right, so just Juggle will ask, so that spell just to see what he did? And then question him as he's doing it?
I can't cast the spell in... Or if I cast the spell in the mansion, I don't know what it would look like at that time, other than be a void in the world.
Because it didn't exist at the time.
This extra-dimensional space did not exist when he did his work. A duplicate of it existed, but the space is different, so I think that the spell would not function.
Trippy.
20th level magic.
And I don't want to risk it, because if it does just create a void in the world, I would fall through it, because there's no way for me to see what's going on in the spell without being within the spell. So I would fall into nothingness forever.
Woo!
And there would be no way for me to teleport out, because I would only see out the area outside of the spell would still be void. There would be nowhere for me to see to go.
You need
I
banishment.
suppose if I waited long enough and it wasn't harmful enough to my existence, I would be able to long rest and then plane shift via wish. Possibly. I don't want to risk this.
Just sleeping, just meditating.
While falling into infinity, slowly going mad.
just arrive at the beginning of time.
Fuck. Find out you beat yourself there.
So you can't see it when he's doing it. You could probably talk to him afterwards.
Yes, we'd be able to talk to him afterwards when he left the area. We would be able to talk to him when he was packing. We would be able to confront him before he got into the Mages Guild. There are many places that we could have discussions with him.
I imagine you pulling the stunt in the Mages Guild to catch him as he was going to the portal. You're just like, how did you know? How did you get here? That'd be great.
I'm a mage, Fess. I know where the guilds are.
But the sign, it was gone.
Just meet him in there holding the keystone of the teleportation circle.
Looking for this.
He's like, I don't know what that is. And I'm like, oh, it needs to be there for the teleportation circle to work. And then he punches me.
He find out he's really bad at magic because actually he's a fighter and he just kicks your ass.
Muscle wizard.
Cast fist. Okay, so cool. Lots of fun ideas there. I want to hit one last thing before we call the session for tonight. Leah, you told me that you wanted to do Dream before everybody got up, but I've just realized I never came back to you to find out what you do after everybody gets up.
Same old.
Same old? Breakfast and go try to meet with the Black Rose, who are mostly unconscious still from drinking a lot.
Yeah. It seemed like a lot of the younger ones might not have.
Probably.
You'd be surprised.
I mean, it's not like there's a drinking age necessarily in this world. Just most families are like, we're not going to give our kids alcohol because it makes them insane.
Because we're not French.
Because we're not French. Okay. Yeah. So I just wanted to make sure that you had a chance to weigh in on anything special you might have wanted to do other than Dream. But like I said, Dream went well, and you know that you'll have some support from Baranor and the allies he's garnered at your request.
Yeah.
Other than that, I can't imagine that Lorelei is not checking out the angel, probably invisibly.
Yeah.
Just because it's a fascinating change of events.
Sure, yeah.
And she's probably jealous.
But, yeah. I don't know.
Who's the new hot lady? And can she make me swords like hers?
I feel like I remember, didn't Laromendis have a 9th level spell before? Didn't he still have a 9th level spell last night before his
We
long
had
rest?
talked about Laromendis doing the purple worm thing for you. We skipped over it because of when I needed to step away from my cat.
Right.
Yeah, and I wanted green dragon this time. Green dragon poison.
Oh, right. You wanted me to just breathe into a bag?
I am curious as to how you will collect that green dragon poison, since it is gaseous.
Yeah, I have to come for the way.
What?
There has to be a way, right?
There has to be a way.
There is a will, and you know what they say.
Where there's a whip, there's a way. No, wait, that's Lord of the Rings. Movie was weird. Anyway, yeah, so, lay some thoughts at me. How would you capture a gas?
It has to be a container that's tightly sealed.
Mm-hmm.
Glass would be best.
Okay.
I don't know.
Blow
Could
it
I
into a
just blow
vial.
into a bunch of vials and close it up? I feel like it would leave before. I don't know.
I mean, that, if you have a way to, if you can just get in there, like, in mid-breath, just jam a stopper in there, that could potentially work. What you have to know is that...
Is the gas heavier than air?
Well, I mean, but air currents can work for you. If you blow at a certain angle, you could displace the air in the vial, even without having a density greater than air.
Mm-hmm.
And just because, of course, it's cool, the green dragon poison breath is visibly green, so you would see it replacing air in a location, displacing, I should say, air in a location.
Breathe chlorine.
Yeah. I mean, kinda.
I imagine it sets, right? It, like, stays there.
Well, according to the mechanic of the breath, it doesn't really linger. You have to make a con check when you get hit by it, but it doesn't hang around and cause more con checks. Green.
So you blow it into a sealed room, it would still only last the one.
It says that it... Hold on, let me
Well, so...
not talk out of my ass.
If it's heavier than air, then we can breathe into a container and essentially scoop it. If it's lighter than air, we can breathe it in an enclosed space and then have the servants scoop it from the ceiling. The difficulty is if it's too close to the density of air, that it's like a pain in the ass to
separate.
Yeah.
You're gonna get a colloidal gas that's part air, part poison. Yeah, it just says, so poison breath just says, the dragon exhales poisonous gas in a 60-foot cone. Each creature in that area must make a DC 18 Constitution saving throw or take 56 poison damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful one. It talks nothing about it lingering. So it's just while you're in that cone, while it's breathing, you're getting poisoned. But then it's gone. It's like a fire blast, but poison.
So that mean if I were to add this effect to my gas, my smoke bomb thing, it would probably just be like an initial poison blast, and then...
Well, I have a thought, but, I mean...
What if... So, my question is... How does the poison gas... Like, is it a poison that is aerosolized?
Mm-hmm.
And can you extract it without aerosolizing it?
I mean...
By, like, removing a gland.
It is
which
not
would
unreasonable.
Suck for me.
Yeah, but it's not like you're gonna die from it. It makes a lot of sense if that is the case, that there is a concentration of it in some organ in the dragon's body, and that it then aerosolizes it. And there's also, other ideas about it, the whole rotting food thing. But without a specification in the rules, I get to make that call. So I don't see any specification in the rules here. No, nothing. So I would say that I've always enjoyed the idea of dragons having elemental glands that they, excrete from and mix with their breath to aerosolize. That just always has seemed very reasonable to me.
Yeah. It's an easy hand wave for it, because it makes enough sense to be like, we can move on.
Yeah. Dragon has a fire gland, or dragon has a gas gland that it ignites on the way out like a general flamethrower.
Yeah.
Either way.
That one's my favorite.
You gotta clack the teeth together to get a spark going.
No, I love that one.
Napalm at ya.
Yeah, I know that.
God, dragon with napalm breath.
I mean, that's like an acid dragon that ignites the acid, right?
Yeah. If you take
A red dragon and a black dragon.
Take the gas and if you figure out a way to like gel the gas with the acid,
Lysandrius is a new
Well, patriotic
project.
napalm.
Then make some horrifying
He's like,
napalm.
Laromendis, we should discuss things more frequently. Great strides, sir.
I've long considered you to be a peer, my friend.
You bring
Peers.
Lysandrius out into the pond.
Peers review one another's work and suggest paths of study. Would you not agree, Professor?
I mean, I do think it's not unreasonable that Laromendis has done that for him before.
That's why he
Like, without
doesn't
meaning
anymore.
to. Like, Lysandrius, like, would come over to him, like, after classes, and just, like, say things, and Laromendis, again, would say the first thing that came to his mind. And then Lysandrius is like, ooh, that's interesting, and then leave. And Laromendis is like, shit. I feel like that's probably how Laromendis was familiar enough with him to provide that introduction.
It took several moments of this occurring before he's got a mantra in his head, which is, don't blurt the first thing in your mind when in the presence of the sociopath.
I think it probably happened because he was talking with the dean at the time, and he just, like, they were at lunch or something, and Lysandrius came over and Laromendis responded the way, like, without thinking,
Yeah.
and she was just like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I imagine that the phrasing from Laromendis was, well, it's not like we could just XYZ, and Lysandrius goes, but can't we? This requires experimentation. Thank you, Professor, and leaves. Laromendis just be like, yeah, sure, no problem. And Amara's like, you idiot.
It's your fault. They've been trying to find whoever's been helping him for years at that point.
Oh, goodness gracious. Lysandrius will be my greatest contribution to the world of D&D. Nothing will top him because he's awful.
a very fun character. He's the worst.
I love him.
Nothing is taboo for him.
But
Nothing
yeah,
is
so
sacred.
Laromendis, I suppose, talks his way into talking about the gland and everything.
So yeah.
He's ready to get stabbed.
Just like everyone, you become a purple worm, he goes inside you and cuts out your glands.
And it's just like that.
How many... so I guess the question, do you want Purple Worm or Green Dragon first? Because every time you hurt me, I need to make a con save. Because it is a concentration spell.
Nice.
So you need to pick what's happening first. And then Tristan needs to say how many con saves as each thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to do the dragon first, because I have purple and poison stuff. So.
Alright. Let's,
What's the green dragon that's... What's the con of the green dragon with a CR closest to 20?
let's see here.
I assume you don't want me to pull it up.
No, I have it. There's adult green dragon. Is that CR? Let me check what the ancient one is, but I doubt that it's below 20. I hope not.
20 or below, because I can turn into my level.
Okay, well, let's see. You. Nope, I was right. That is above 20. Okay, so back to the other one. You. So the con of this dragon is +5.
Okay. The con save is +5?
That is, no. Their con save is +10.
Okay.
They're very good at con saves.
Oh. I can't lose
fail.
concentration.
Alright, so prepare to be lacerated.
I appreciate you.
And he says as he's cutting your gland out.
So when Laromendis turns back into an elf, what's missing?
Groaning.
Nothing.
I mean, nothing according to the rules, because it's ablative HP. As long as it doesn't.
So
I feel like
shape
you should
change
have
is
phantom
the druid
pain.
wild shape, but able to be whatever I want it to be. That's CR 20 or below.
I feel like he needs to have phantom pain somewhere.
He's got like
In a way- in
the
a place that's very
scratchiest
different.
throat for like the next day.
No, it's like my lower back on the left side. It's like that doesn't even make sense.
Cut it from my mouth. Yeah, this is going to be really extremely unpleasant because I imagine that it's at the base of the neck.
Yeah, this is very uncomfortable.
And I don't. You are in this form. You are huge, which
Lying like I'm splayed out like the Fat Fuck Friday. Alligator.
you are Flat Fuck Friday.
Perform
And
surgery on
he's
you.
either got to like just cut in through your scales at the base of your neck, at the base of your throat, like right above your clavicle, or he's got to go down your throat, which I think you're big enough to swallow him. At huge.
I think at huge, yeah. I think that
It is not
medium
one of
sized
their
humanoid
abilities. Like it's not one of their abilities. They don't have consume or swallow. They have bite.
but yeah, like it would be so it might be too tight for him to walk in then.
I
I could
didn't say
get in.
walk. I said he could be swallowed.
Oh, yeah.
Crawl.
Well, yeah, no, I mean like
You should be getting back
basically
out.
for him to be able to get out. But I suppose like we have unseen servants to
Just wait for
yank him
nature
at
to
the
take
fucking
its
gullet.
course.
Just drag me out.
Make a chain of unseen servants. This is getting more uncomfortable by the minute. So yeah,
I'm choking.
you can't fail your con saves, so you're stuck until he's done. And as a well-developed, green dragon, you've got a significant amount of poison he can take. So yeah, it's exceedingly uncomfortable.
I think Vendar should make a con save.
It's gonna get
climbing
squeezy in
inside.
there. Vendar should make a con save. Vendar should probably just
Just
take
because it's funny.
damage.
That's fair. Just from like bludgeoning damage, just from
Just from your neck.
it being tight.
Yeah. You just try to clear your throat to get him out of it. Just getting beaten on by your muscles. Ugh, weird. Fucking weird. Don't love it.
Fucking weird.
So I'm actually rolling a con save?
Yeah, please.
It's the rule of funny. It needs to
Yeah.
happen.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and use a mulligan.
Okay.
God.
You have inspiration, don't you? Not
No, he used it earlier.
I already used it
Oh,
earlier.
jeez.
Can I give him the help action?
No. You're helping him already.
Like that's why he can get out.
That's why he's not
Well,
dead.
That's a 15 as opposed to a 4.
Okay, 15's better than
15
4.
is much better than 4, yeah.
Cool. So, you manage to hack it, and, Sam manages to keep the dragon's mouth open the whole time you're in there so you don't asphyxiate while working.
There's an unseen servant holding my mouth open, and there's another one with a bellows.
Forcing air down the throat. You are going to take a cumulative 20 points of damage just from crushing leaky poisons, uncomfortable conditions.
Worth it.
Worth it. And you are going to make it out with, 2 spiral ham-sized poison glands.
Nice.
So we'll deal with that later because it's 10:30. But you get some green dragon green poison in its concentrated liquid form. You know that I think probably the easiest way to talk about it is that it just has a really low boiling point, and so it vaporizes when in contact with air. I think that
makes sense.
Yeah.
I like that.
Works for me.
It's also horrific.
It's like pure concentrated alcohol that if you take the lid off, it just starts to evaporate. But that's like, it's the best explanation for why they can fill an area with it and kill everything, and then the poison is just gone 6 seconds later.
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense.
Just an extremely low boiling point. Alright, we're gonna call it there. That was fun. And horrifying.
Yeah.
We did a lot of horrifying things. We learned a lot of horrifying
There was so
things.
much.
Yeah.
This was a busy morning.
We brainstormed some troubling things.
Some war crimes? I think some war crimes.
Yeah. Alright, well.
It's only a crime if you get caught.
Too accurate. Alright. We'll see you next time, and see what hijinks we can get up to. I think the way it'll run is we'll just make sure that we kind of have established through this day the theme of what's going on, so we'll finish up these little things, and then it'll be like, okay, 14 days, we'll do some rolls, and then it'll be go time.
Makes
I'm
sense.
about at it.
Huh?
We're about at the finals.
Yeah, no, it's
Wow,
exciting.
we're almost there.
I'm glad. I'm nervous. I'm glad. I have a lot of things to still figure out that I have definitely procrastinated on. Premature as it may be to say, thank you all for being here with me for all of this.
Come on.
You're welcome. It was
Like the 4 years we've been playing.
the 4,
been
not the
like
9
8
years we've been
Yeah, 9
playing.
years.
It's been 9. This is year 9. Vendar's 30 now. He was 21.
Yep. Started the same age as me, and now I'm almost a decade older.
Look, it was a good story. Alright.
I've enjoyed it thoroughly the whole time.
I am extremely pleased, and it was my pleasure to run it, so. Alright. Well, I will see you all the next time I see you all. And until then, have a good week. Bye, stream.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.